Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about the lessons that I've learned on the way to getting 1,000 subs on YouTube. I know there's probably a bunch of these videos out there, but I figured there's probably quite a few things that I've learned that might be able to help someone else. I know a lot of my audience probably doesn't really care about these types of videos, but maybe there's a few people out there that this kind of video would help. Plus, I also noticed that I'm getting quite a few smaller YouTubers that are following my channel, so maybe this will help some of you out as well. And I figure seeing as how half my channel, or like pretty much all my channel right now is about educational content, that this video falls right in line with a lot of the other stuff that I make. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I've got quite a bit of stuff to cover here, so it's going to take a little while. This is going to be another long, if you're watching a Ken Harris video, it's pretty much just a guarantee that you're probably going to be here for at least 30 minutes if you go all the way through it. So let's go ahead and get started. So here's the first big lesson that I learned, and I will throw this out there that this is not my first time on YouTube. I have been on here before in a couple of different ways, but when I came back this time, I wanted to do things quite a bit different. So when I'm saying certain things throughout this video, I want to have that caveat in there that I've tried a lot of things in the past, as well as things that I've done recently when I came back here to YouTube. And the first thing I'm going to mention, I know this is a big cliche thing with a lot of YouTubers. You'll see people talking about, oh, well, it's not important to be consistent, doesn't matter, you need to put out good videos. And then other people saying, well, consistency is important. I'm going to give you a couple of different perspectives, and I'm giving this perspective of someone who is a consumer of this platform. I've been on YouTube for many years now, basically since the platform first existed. I've been on here at least since 2006. I think it came out in 2004 or 5. So I've been here almost the entire time since YouTube's been around. And so I'm speaking from the experience of someone that watches a lot of other people and things that I like to see in their channels, as well as things that I've learned about making videos for myself, as well as making videos on this channel. Now, I know there's a lot of conflicting information, but it seems like the prevailing argument here that I see a lot of people make is that at least the majority seem to trend towards that consistency is a really important thing. And I would have to agree with them, and there's a few different points for that. First of all, it's important for yourself because it's going to hold you accountable. You need to set this schedule and you need to stick to it and commit to it because it's going to help you a lot. One of the things that I've seen a lot of small YouTubers fall into the trap of, they have this thing where they want to try to get as many subscribers as possible, as fast as possible. So they'll pump out a bunch of videos, they'll stick to a schedule, and then it seems like a lot of them get to a certain point, like they'll get to 100 or 200 subscribers, whatever the number is, and then they'll just stop. And a lot of it, we'll cover some reasons on that later of why I think it is, the reasons that I've seen come up on certain like Reddit boards and things like that. But it's important for yourself that you follow it, and it's also important for the people that watch you. And this one of the things, so when I go to other channels, and I'm saying this as someone who's been on this platform for quite a while, it's important, like when you go to another person's channel, you want to know, oh, okay, this person uploads on this day and this day, so this is when I can go watch their videos. And I know I'm not the greatest example of this because I always upload on Mondays and Fridays. I haven't set a time yet, so some people, I don't know if some people will check my channel in the morning expecting to see an upload and then it's not done. Like when I'm filming this video here later in the day, so for a lot of people, they'll think, oh, well, okay, so he uploads videos in the evenings. But it's important that, so let's say Monday and Friday, you want to upload on Monday and Friday. At least stick to that for a while. You should make that commitment to yourself. I see so many people, and it's not just in YouTube, I see people do this a lot in a lot of other things, is they will quit after a short amount of time. They'll just give up. And that's actually a talking point that I forgot in here, so I'll cover that here soon. The other thing is I think it's also really important for the algorithm. So when I came back to this, now in the past, what I did, I had a talking head video channel in the past, where what I did was I made a video every day, and I made a commitment to myself that I was going to post 100 videos in 100 days. And if I missed a single day, that I was going to restart and start from zero, where, okay, well, now I've got to start that clock over again and get to 100 videos again without quitting or without stopping at some point. And what I ended up doing was I think it was about 130 videos, and then you can't find any of these videos anymore. I deleted all of them. A lot of them turned out to be pretty much garbage, but we'll cover that here pretty soon because that's an important topic. Now, when I came back to YouTube is what I noticed when I first was posting videos. If you go back here and look at the stats on my channel, and it's not the most accurate representation at this point. Like this video here has done really well just in the last few months, because this video up until just a few months ago only had a couple hundred views on it, and then all of a sudden it started getting a bunch of views on it. But what I noticed is when I came back, so I've been doing the 2 videos a week, Monday and Friday, ever since I've been back on here. And so when I was coming on here, so my channel didn't start to grow until I think it was one of these videos here. The first 6 weeks that I was back on YouTube, I was getting almost no views. I was getting maybe a couple of views a day, and I got no subscribers until I think it was around this video here where I finally started to get a subscriber here and there, like a subscriber maybe every other day or every few days. But then I noticed as I continued to post more and more videos that I was getting more and more attention, and I do think there's something there. And obviously the quality of the videos, like quality is really subjective. You need to make videos that people want to watch. That's obviously a really important thing. But I do think there's something there about consistency, because what I've seen from other people's channels is that it seems like growth really stops once people stop posting videos. And here's an example that I will give you. One of my favorite YouTubers is Devin Nash. Now, Devin gets very few views on his videos anymore, and you can see he's made only 4 videos in the last 6 months. And he's been at 136,000 subscribers now for at least the last couple of months. Like, his channel has stopped growing, and he's admitted this himself, that if he would have continued to post videos, like a couple videos a week, that within a year or 2 years that he'd be at 1 million plus subscribers. But he said he's not interested in doing that. The consistency thing is definitely true, and that's why I'm saying that. And it's not so much even for the algorithm. I think the consistency, out of all of these reasons, it's most important for yourself because it holds you accountable. It's holding you accountable to be on here. When you tell people that you're going to do something, that you actually follow through with it. And like I told people when I started my channel, was that I was going to be uploading videos on Mondays and Fridays. And for the last couple of weeks, we've had all these holidays, like Christmas, I had stuff going on, and that was my fault. I should have filmed the video ahead of time, but I didn't. I had other stuff going on, but I still took the time out of my day to film a video because I made a commitment to it. And I'm not just going to stop doing videos for a day or two because I don't feel like it. I made the commitment to do it. This comes back to accountability. I'm holding myself accountable. I think that's really important. So let's go ahead and keep moving on here, because otherwise this is going to be like a 2-hour video. So the next thing is quality versus quantity. Now, when I first started on YouTube, the reason I was challenging myself to make 100 videos in 100 days was because I knew that I wasn't going to improve if I didn't just put the reps in. I'm going to tell you, those first few videos are going to be, for anyone, your first few videos are going to be absolutely garbage. So I didn't really start to make improvements until the beginning of the second month. So I had 30 some videos by that point. I was like, by week 5 or week 6 is where I started to notice a huge difference, because what I was doing was going back and watching old content and then comparing it to the stuff that I was currently making. And I noticed a huge difference. And the other thing, and I'll cover this some more later on, is I had also been, like, I would click record, I would try making the video, and I would look at it and be like, this is complete garbage. It's gonna take a ton of editing to fix this stuff. So I'm just gonna scrap the whole thing, go back and restart it. So I went through about 6 weeks of that before I started seeing like real improvements for me being able to talk on camera. Because the thing is that talking on camera is it's a skill like anything else. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of practice to learn. You will not be able to just start talking on camera and be able to expect to do well. And I have some experience in the past of doing public speaking. Public speaking was different. Like, at least then you're talking to people and they can communicate back with you. Whereas in a format like this, you have to be able to talk to a camera, but no one can talk back to you. You have to have everything all prepared and ready to go. And so, like I said, and basically all those videos, those 130 videos that I made were complete garbage. I ended up deleting. I probably shouldn't have, so people could have gone back and looked at all that. Looking back, I probably should have kept those, but whatever. And I've kept the videos on here. But the thing is you can't get to quality without putting in the reps. And you can I don't know how many people that watch my channel have ever done any sort of compound lifting. I started getting into powerlifting a while back. And when I first started, I was absolute garbage because I didn't realize how much technique there was to bench press, squatting, deadlifting, overhead press, and rows. And that's pretty much all I did for like a year and a half straight was just those 5 lifts. But it was the practice of putting in, if I would have gone to the gym and I would have done like 2 or 3 squats and then gone home, I wouldn't have really seen any improvement at all. Like I could have been doing that for 2 or 3 years. I would have seen a little bit of improvement, but I wouldn't have seen much. Whereas when I would go to the gym, I was putting in a few dozen. Like when you're powerlifting, you're using a lot of heavy weight, so you can't do too many reps, or otherwise you'll end up getting hurt. But that applies to the videos thing because if let's say you're making 1 video a week, you're going to have a lot harder of a time. Now you can get around that by doing something similar that I did, where what I was doing was recording a video. I'd go back and watch it. I'd be like, this is complete garbage, delete it, and then just re-record the whole thing. There were days where I would do that for videos, and I would do that about a half dozen times, and it would take hours for me to put out 1 video. Whereas these days I can talk on end you guys have seen, I can talk on end for an hour plus, and I end up having to edit a bunch of that out because I'm talking too much, and I'm like, all right, I don't need all this stuff in here. But when you're getting started, you have to realize that your early work is gonna suck. And one of the most famous singers is, I think his name's Ed Sheeran. He was doing an interview once, and he was saying that because people were asking about the quantity of songs that he was putting out, and he was like, well, here's the thing. When you first get started, it's like turning on a faucet that hasn't ran forever. When you first turn it on, there's going to be a whole bunch of shit that comes out at first. It's going to look like garbage, but after a while, it gets good. And it's the same thing like when you're making videos. So that's why, yeah, in my personal opinion, I think people should start with quantity. It massively helped for me. When I first got started on YouTube, if I would have done those 130 videos over a year, so 2 videos a week, or if I would have taken 1 video a week, so that would have taken me 2+ years, it would have taken me way longer to improve. And like, yeah, the videos themselves were crappy, but it was all the other skills that it built up. The ability to talk to a camera, working on improving my speech skills, working on improving how I plan my content, all that kind of stuff. It will get better, and then you can always dial it back. Like now I do 2 videos a week, and that's been working just fine for me. So anyway, enough of that, let's move on. So I'm gonna cover the software that I've used to make this to work. I'm gonna just cover this briefly. I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time on this. The first thing is efficiency is incredibly important. A lot of people, I think, really overlook this because one of the things that I've seen, like I've obviously watched a lot of videos on, okay, how do I improve my channel? And one of the things that I see come up, like when I watch other videos of people that make videos about, their specific niche is helping other people improve their YouTube channels and improve on being able to make videos. And one of the most common things I see asked that they cover in their videos, and one of the most common things that I'll see covered or talked about in the comment section is people will say, well, I put out 1 or 2 videos, but then I just kind of fell off, didn't really have time for it. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, you gotta adjust your priorities, because if you really are serious about doing a YouTube channel, like it takes a lot of work. There's that aspect of it. But I think for a lot of people, the efficiency is just really poor. They don't have a good way of managing their entire system. So like when I make videos, and I can cover this on later videos, I probably will anyway, just because like I said, I do a ton of educational content. But what I do when I make my videos is efficiency is priority. And I did this when I first got on YouTube, and I've been doing it ever since I've been back. I have a very strict system as to how I set things up. So like when I make a new video, so I will have like a master folder that has and then I make individual folders for each video that I'm making. And then inside of those folders, I will do things, at least this is how I started. I made some changes now, so there is some things that are a little bit different, but for the most part, it's still the same. Where I'd have a text file that would have the outline, so like the bullet points that I will talk about. I don't do scripts. Bullet points are great for me. I know there's other people that might need to use a script, whatever works best for you. Then I will do all of my thumbnails. So anything I'm going to use as my thumbnail, all the thumbnail assets, those go into that folder. Then I make the thumbnail, then I save it in that folder. then I have my raw video file, and then I have my exported edited video file in there. So basically everything is contained inside of there. Then I have the title for that folder. So the video title is on the folder. So that way I know at any time if I need to go back to reference a video, to pull, let's say, a video or a picture asset or something like that out to use on another video, I have everything all lined up. It works out really well. It's really efficient. That is the thing that really hurts a lot of people because everything is such a mess. They don't have a really strict organization system. And if you do this, if you do a little bit of extra work up front, it saves you a ton of work later on. It's kind of like the old saying that a pound of prevention is worth, or an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. In this case, your ounce of prevention is setting up your system ahead of time and following that really well, instead of just having all your files be a mess and you got 10 different random video files sitting on your desktop. You don't know which one is the most recent video that you made. It's just a big mess. Now, the other thing I've done on this front, and I will make a video covering this on at a later point, is I am now using a second brain. And for the people that haven't heard of a second brain, this has been one of the biggest things that has improved my work in the last couple of, so I started using a second brain probably 3-4 months ago now. It has single-handedly been, absolutely changed how I do work, not just for anything I'm doing on YouTube, but work in general, because I can track everything. So inside the second brain, I have where I'm tracking so I plan out all my content. So like right now, I've planned out video content for a year plus ahead of time if I'm making like 2 videos a week. So I'm staying way ahead on things. And then I can track all my other work. I'll make a video covering it at some point. There's a couple of good options out there right now. If you haven't used a second brain before, it's worth taking a look at, I think. One popular option right now is Notion. Another one is Obsidian. And then one of the YouTubers that I follow, Dan Coe, is putting one out. He hasn't released it yet, so I haven't had a chance to play with it to see if I like it or not. It's called Cortex, spelled with a K. At some point, I'll probably take a look at it and see if it's something that I like, and then I'll make a big video covering second brains, because I think a second brain is massive for improving efficiency. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this, out of everything that I talk about on this video, this is one of the most important things here, because if you do not have your efficiency dialed in, it is going to really hurt you on the long run of trying to manage all this stuff, because you're going to just get burnt out trying to keep up with all of it. So let me just go through a couple of things here real quick as to what I'm using for software. I keep it really simple. My videos are pretty simple. I do simple editing. I don't complicate this stuff. So I use OBS Studio. This is it's free open source software. It works fantastically. This is really good software. It takes a little bit of time to get set up. I had to watch quite a few videos to get this stuff set up and working for me properly. And if this is something you want to do, you might need to watch quite a few videos, because you'll need to learn how to set up your scenes. You need to learn how to set up your sources and then do filters. Like if you have a camera and you want to add, let's say, a LUT to your camera, like I have on mine, that's why the colors on this camera look a lot better than some YouTubers that I've watched, because I apply a LUT ahead of time. You'll have to learn about setting your audio settings, doing audio filters, all that kind of stuff. Takes a little bit of time, but this is great software, awesome stuff. Then as far as what I use for editing, I'm using DaVinci Resolve. So you can get this for free, or you can pay $300 for it. And I finally ended up moving to the paid version a while back. But when I was first on YouTube making those videos, the 100 videos in 100 days stuff, I used the free version the entire time, and the free version works extremely well. I can guarantee for the huge vast majority of people, this would work great for you. For a lot of people, you wouldn't ever need to buy this. Part of it is I wanted to support the studio for making this. It's this software is used in a lot of Hollywood productions. They use this to do the post-production, and you get some other benefits. Like if you buy this, you get faster video processing and things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, basically what I did when I bought this is I'm buying time. It's saving me a lot of time. And then as far as editing images, GIMP is completely free. This software has improved massively in the last decade. It's I mean, it's never going to be as good as Photoshop. I know some people would like this to be able to overtake Photoshop. I just don't think it'll ever happen because of just the amount of money and development that's behind Photoshop, but this works great. You can use this to make all of your thumbnails. Now, being able to Photoshop things is a skill in and of itself. This is something I've developed over a long time. I'm sure you've noticed, like some of the thumbnails that I do, I put a little bit of effort into, and some of my thumbnails look like crap. In fact, a lot of them I keep pretty simple, like this one, really simple thumbnail. But this is all stuff that you can do inside of something like GIMP. You don't need to go spend a bunch of money on software to be able to do this stuff. It's just a matter of taking the time to learn how to do it. The next thing, this is a huge thing. I see so many people fall into this trap. The hardware is not important as people think. And now lighting and audio are the two things that are really important. So when I first got started, what I was doing is I took a USB cable, I hooked it up to an iPhone, and that's what I was filming my videos with. So I installed OBS on the iPhone, had the USB going to my computer, and then I was recording it through OBS. So I had my iPhone webcam showing up here, kind of like I do with this. And then I would do videos. They were kind of similar to what I was doing now, except on different stuff. But it looked really good. And here's why I'm saying lighting and audio are the most important part. So what you don't see is I have two light boxes behind the camera here that give really good light. And if I were to turn those off, even with the camera that I have now, the picture would look like garbage because lighting is much more important. Like on the iPhone, for example, most people wouldn't have thought that it was an iPhone. Like it didn't have depth of field, so you didn't have the blurry background like you'll get with a good lens. Like you can't do that properly with an iPhone. It's just the law of physics, and an iPhone lens just won't be able to compare to a DSLR lens like I'm using right now, or a mirrorless camera rather. But other than having things like the blurry background, the picture quality was really good for an iPhone. And there's a lot of people that do really well on YouTube just using something like an iPhone to make their videos. There's a real estate agent that I was watching, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, getting 500,000 plus views per video, and all he would do is walk around a neighborhood filming with an iPhone, and people liked his videos. And his thumbnails, he didn't even put in any editing in his thumbnail. He'd make like this face on his thumbnail, no text, and he would just post that as the video, getting hundreds of thousands of views. The hardware is not important. It is the content that's important. So lighting, like I said, I spent 50 or 60 bucks on these light boxes. Audio is the other important thing. If you're going to spend money on something, audio is like the thing that you should probably spend it on. So if you go back and watch the earlier videos that I had on this channel, I noticed one day I was going and editing the video, and I was like, I noticed there seemed to be like some sort of audio issue. And so I started going back and watching other older videos. I was like, oh, okay, it's an issue, and I didn't catch it before. It was an issue with the microphone that I was using. And once I could hear it, I was like, okay, that's bothering the hell out of me. That sounds like garbage. I need to get a new microphone. And the one that I've got now works pretty well. There are advantages to using a boom mic. So something like a Shure SM7B, those are fantastic microphones. I wanted something a little more portable, so that's why I went with the DJI wireless mic here. And it took a little bit of tweaking to get the audio to sound good. When I first got this microphone, I was really on the fence, but I was like, man, I spent 300 bucks on this thing. I don't think it sounds all that great, but I did some tweaking to the microphone and it sounds much better now. But I also don't have that audio issue that I was having with my other microphone. So these two things are much more important than having a fancy camera. Now, one of the things that I'll mention, so if you are looking at getting a camera, so what I'm using right now is a Sony ZV-10 and with a Sigma 1.4 30 millimeter lens. It's a prime lens. If I had to do it over again, what I would have preferred doing, I think Sigma also has a zoom lens. What I would have preferred was getting a zoom lens. I think the focal length on that is a 2.8. For people that are wondering what that is, there's a whole bunch of videos out there you can go watch. I do like the 1.4, and so you would have given up a little bit to go to a 2.8, but having a zoom lens would have been really nice because one of the things with the issues that I have with this lens is the camera is sitting a pretty decent distance away from me. like the camera's not up super close. And so it's made it a little bit difficult not having a zoom lens when I want to move the camera. So instead of having it on the tripod, I've got it on a different part next to my desk here, is I have to spend a little bit of time tweaking it to get a good picture. Whereas if I would have had a zoom lens, I could have just spent way less time plopping it down where I want it and then make adjustments. So that's one thing that I would change. As far as the Sony ZV-10, I'm actually really liking it. It's not a true 10-bit camera. They advertise it as a 10-bit camera. When you go in, if you do decide to buy this camera, when you go in and you're making changes for things like color grading, you'll notice when you start color grading, you're actually are only getting 8 bits, which to me isn't a big deal. I think the camera footage looks absolutely great. I don't have an issue with it. That is just one thing to be aware of. But again, I can make a video talking about that more in depth later on because I want to keep this video moving. Next thing, analytics. This has been another, and this is a really dangerous trap that people fall into, and I have had kind of a hard time not focusing on this too much. And what I mean by analytics are things like impressions, watch time, click-through rate, views, likes, comments, subscribers, all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, that stuff does not matter. Well, I mean, it does, but people, they mistake it thinking that that matters when what really matters is the content itself. And so let me go into more depth on that. The thing that I've been doing for the last few months on this channel is I pretty much stopped paying attention to the subscriber count, the view duration, all that stuff. What I'm doing at this, I'm spending as much time as I can to make good content. And one of the recent videos that I made that has done really well for me, and probably the reason why is because I put more effort into this video than I have with some of the others on my channel, is the web browser tier list. This is consistently getting a couple hundred views a day. Just in the last 48 hours, I checked earlier, YouTube said that this has got 400 something views. This has been one of my best performing videos, but this took a lot of time for me to prepare. And the thing is, I didn't go rush and I didn't go, so for example, I put Molvad as an S tier browser. I didn't just go download Molvad, play around with it for 5 minutes and say, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna put that in S tier. I spent like a month just messing around with Molvad because I'm like, if I'm gonna recommend this browser to other people, I'm gonna say that it's S tier. I wanna make sure that I actually do believe that. And the thing is, I put in the work and I've used all these other browsers on here as well. I don't just do like this half-ass work on my, sometimes I do a way less work on some of these videos than I do with others. And that was an example of a video where, and I do this on my other videos too, where I don't give a damn about the click-through rate or anything like that. I make a video, I'm moving on to the next thing. I'm not going back and spending a bunch of time focusing on things. And I see this come up on, there's a Reddit out there. I don't recommend people use it. I used to keep an eye on it in the past. It's called r/newtubers, N-E-U-tubers, like YouTubers, but it's newtubers, where people are going in there and I see, like if you go look, you'll see a ton of posts about people talking about things like, oh, my click-through rate isn't all that great, or my views are down, or my average view duration is down. One of the biggest things that I see people focus on is click-through rate. And then they'll link their channel and I go look at the channel. They've made like 3 or 4 videos. They've got like 10 subscribers. Their videos have a few views on them. It's like, that's not the thing you need to be focusing on. What you need to focus on, instead of spending hours worrying about what's going to get you the most clicks or views, or going back and paying attention or looking at your analytics, is to make the content itself better. And even now, like I could spend a bunch of time looking at analytics, but I don't. I'm making videos, and I'm going to cover this more here pretty soon. I make videos that I want to make. And like this video, for example, isn't going to do as well as a lot of other videos I make on my channel because a lot of stuff that I make is focused on things like cybersecurity or privacy. This is completely out of left field for a lot of people because I normally don't make content like this, but it's a video that I want to make. If it performs well, great. If not, I don't care, because I figure, okay, even if it gets only 100 views, if I come back in 6 months and this video has only got 100 views, well, there's probably 2 or 3 people that I said something in here that helped them out with their stuff. And it's like, okay, that's great. That's like 99% of the purpose of this channel in the first place. So anyway, I would say don't get focused on analytics. And also the other thing, when you're early on here, let's say you have 50 subscribers and maybe a couple hundred views, your analytics aren't even worth looking at anyway. This is something I forgot to put later on in the bullet list. But one of the things that will help a lot of people out, not just on YouTube, is learning something called statistics and probability. And when you're working with statistics and probability, you have to have a big enough of a data set to be able to work with to figure out, to see patterns and figure things out. So for example, when it comes to subscribers, there have been days, so this was a thing back when earlier when I got started on the channel, is I think like 3 or 4 months in, I had a 2-day period where I gained 25 subscribers on each day. And then the previous weeks, I had been picking up like maybe 2 or 3 subscribers at most per day. And then the following couple of weeks, is I was only gaining like 1 or 2 subscribers a day. And there was even a couple of days where I didn't even gain any subscribers. And for most people, is what they will do is they'll look at that and it will just crush them. They're like, oh, well, now I can't repeat this success. Now I'm depressed. I'm just going to give up. Where all you have to do is remember that it's statistics and probability. Statistically speaking, the longer you go without it gaining, the more days you go without gaining a subscriber, the next day you have a bigger chance of gaining a subscriber. And then statistically speaking, let's say you have a day that's just an anomaly. You pick up like 30 subscribers when normally you only gain like 1 subscriber a day. Statistically speaking, it's a very small chance of that happening. And then once it happens, statistically speaking, it could take a very long time for that to happen again. And the other thing is that when you have to look at a big enough of a time period, a big enough of a data set for this stuff to make sense. And so like I said, when you're your first month or two, especially, I'd say even first few months, I'm 6, 7 months in back on the channel now. I don't pay attention to this stuff. For me, it's not important. Like I said, I focus on the video. When I get a video posted, I'm already thinking about moving on to the next one and I'm working on the next. I don't go back and spend time like this video here has done. For example, this Windows hardening scripts. Well, I guess you can't see it. I'll use this one as an example. This one here, I don't go back and look at the analytics for it to be like, oh, okay, well, when did the views fall off? Because I think it's been at 3.4 now for at least the last month. This video has fallen off. It doesn't get views anymore. I'm not going back and looking at the time of where people are falling off or anything like that. Does it help some people? Absolutely. Is it something you should be focusing on? Maybe. For me, I don't think that it's worth it. Anyway, I'm gonna move off of that subject because I've covered that one enough. Next thing is hate content. When I talk about this, I'm talking about it from the perspective of someone that watches the channel, not as someone who makes this kind of content. This is another thing that's really important for people to keep in mind. So first of all, I forgot to put this in here, but it's very important to keep in mind because one of the things that I see recommended as a strategy to grow a YouTube channel, and I could have done this myself and I could have grown way faster and picked up a lot more subscribers in way less time, but I didn't want to because of numerous reasons, is chasing clout and talking shit on other people. This hate content is absolutely out of control. And this is something, like I said, I'm saying this as an observer of someone who's watched other channels, and I've literally cut channels off of people that I liked, and then they started falling down this rabbit hole, or channels that I'd watch a few videos, and every one of them came across as hate content where they were rage baiting or talking about drama in every single video for 20, 30 minutes on end, things of that nature. I don't watch that kind of shit, and a lot of other people are becoming the same way. The thing is you build a reputation, and that reputation is going to do bad things for you in the long term. And I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to give these people any more attention than they already have. I don't think they deserve it. But there's people on YouTube, and some of them have millions of subscribers, and they have built a reputation out of talking shit on other people. They have set that reputation for themselves. And if they ever wanted to pivot away from that and do something different, that reputation is going to fall. They could delete their channel, start a completely fresh channel. Those people are going to find out about that new channel and they're going to say, oh, now you're trying to make this kind of content. Well, what happened in this content in the past where you were being this kind of a person? I think this is a really bad hole to go down here. The other thing is I'm seeing public sentiment making a slow shift. My perspective of being on the internet for years now is that it seems like I'm seeing a slow shift of a lot of people, and especially on Reddit, because Reddit is an interesting case where there's a ton of negativity on there. But even people on there I'm seeing on different subreddits of hundreds of comments. Like a certain thread will come up on some sort of a hate subject, and a lot of people are starting to seem like they're moving away from, and also on YouTube and other platforms as well, moving away from wanting to see all of this hate content, and they want to see other stuff. I think a lot of people are starting to catch on to this stuff, that this rage baiting, this clickbaiting, this drama farming garbage. It's toxic. And the thing is that your channel is going to turn into a toxic garbage dump if you do this. And if people want to be Fox News or CNN, you know, that's fine. If that's how a person wants to be, if that's how they want to run their channel, fine. I don't give a shit. It's not my channel. Doesn't bother me at all. But I have seen this, and I've seen this in the streaming community a lot, with people on Twitch, for example. They got famous off of doing really shitty acts out in public, making a nuisance out of themselves. When people fall into that kind of a mentality or that kind of content, is it turns the whole channel into sludge. And even the audience themselves turn toxic. So the so-called fans of those people then also become toxic, and then they'll turn on the person that's making that content, and then they'll fight back and forth. I can't stand this kind of garbage, and I don't follow people that make this kind of shit, and I'm not going to have it on my channel. This is something that I won't do, and it's something that, like I said, I wouldn't recommend other people do it either. This is absolute garbage. And one of the things that I've seen Harris Heller talk about in some of his more recent videos is that he's talked about this as well. And Harris is a pretty big name on YouTube and in the Twitch community, and he said the same thing, that people are just getting tired of this kind of bullshit. All right, so let's move on. Next thing is coming up with your style. You're probably not going to figure it out right away. I haven't changed the style. So when I was on YouTube before, I haven't changed my style a lot since I've been back on here. But I do think it's important that you figure out what it is that you want to do with your channel. So I'll give you some examples here so you can kind of get an idea. So the style that I have on my channel is a mix between Chris Titus Tech and Devin Nash. These are two of like my top favorite YouTubers. I really like how they make their videos. I like their content. I like their personalities. And so I've kind of modeled a lot of what I do off of how these guys make their videos. Another YouTuber that I really like is Timothy Kane. And this guy, for example, he doesn't even do any editing. I guess he must use OBS. He fires up OBS, he talks to the camera, and I think his videos are great. And Corey Kenshin is an example of a gaming YouTuber. I like his videos quite a bit. He has a pretty simple style. Like, he has a video editor, I'm pretty sure, that does like B-roll cuts, that cuts in like funny meme footage and things like that. But again, it's the kind of thing where I had to come on here and watch other people to kind of figure out the style that I wanted, and then I've kind of modeled my style. Like, I'll take pieces of some things that one person does, pieces of things that another person does, and then I will combine those things into what it is that I want to do to come up with a style that I like, that works for me. I don't think there's really anything else that I need to say on this. I would just say look around if you want to start a YouTube, or if you already are on YouTube. Find other people that you like watching their stuff and figure out why it is that you like watching their videos, and model your channel off of that. Like I said, just pick certain things from certain people and turn it into your own amalgamation. The next thing, this is really important. You need to make sure you're consuming content on the platform. I watch quite a bit of YouTube. Of all the social media channels, I don't use any other social media channel other than YouTube right now. Like, I will spend maybe a couple of minutes a day at most browsing around on Twitter, but I think Twitter's a complete garbage dump, and I can't stand most of the shit that's on there. And I don't even waste my time on the other social media platforms. And so I've watched enough content on YouTube. This will help you massively. If you want to start making videos, or if you are already making videos and you want to know how to get better, you have to watch other people's content. So for example, in the case of Timothy Kane, the only thing that he talks about on his videos pretty much is anything related to game development. No, I'm not a game developer, but I watch his videos because I just like to watch his videos. And if you look at his channel, he does no editing. His videos are like the most simple thing ever. Like I said, I think it's just a webcam, and then he uses OBS to record with. And his channel is performing extremely well. Just in the last couple of weeks, he has gone from, it might have been about a month now, he's gone up almost 10,000 subscribers. His videos are performing extremely well, but I just like watching the guy's content, and a lot of other people do too. And if you go look at the comments on this guy's channel, you will find plenty of comments on this guy's videos of people saying, "Oh, well, I don't actually do anything related to game development. I like watching Tim's videos just because I like watching Tim. He's a cool dude." And I share the same sentiment. I like watching his videos. Chris Titus Tech, same thing. Like, I really like making tech videos, and I like how Chris Titus Tech makes videos. Chris Titus Tech gets a lot of views on his videos. You can see here, like, most of his videos perform really well on his channel. And so I'm like, okay, well, what is it that he's doing on his channel that makes people want to watch? And so I go and dissect those. I do the same thing with Corey Kenshin. Like, I'll watch his videos for entertainment, but then I will also watch them and be like, okay, well, he does simple edits compared to most people, most gamers on the platform that will try to do all this fancy stuff. He's one of the most subscribed to channels on YouTube. He gets a ton of views. What is it that he's doing that other people are not, that's making people want to watch his videos more? So you got to consume on the platform, because this will really help you shape how it is that you make your videos. Because if you don't know how the platform works, you're going to struggle on here. And I'm going to cover some more on that here pretty soon. The next thing, this is really important for people to keep in mind. I'm going to cover a couple different angles here. Differing opinions are fine. There's nothing wrong with someone coming on. Like, I had a lot of people disagree and say, "Oh, well, I think this browser is better," or "I think this certain firewall is better. I don't like this firewall," or "I don't like this browser," or "I don't like this distribution." It's okay, that's fine. I have no issue with that. People are entitled to their opinions. One of the things that I've seen is some people will take it personally. It's like, it's just an opinion. Like, a lot of the videos that I make are like, I'll have opinions in with the educational stuff that I'm delivering. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's fine for people to have opinions. You shouldn't go and ban someone because they have a different opinion than you. But I'm going to cover the other aspect to this. Now, the other side of this is that you do not need to put up with hate comments, and I have zero tolerance for this. Now, it's been very rare on my channel, probably a lot because I don't get involved with rage baiting and starting shit with other people. I don't have a bunch of hate comments show up, but every now and then someone will leave a hate comment, and they aren't even trying to add anything to a discussion. If they were, that'd be fine, but it's just bullshit. And so I just ban those people. And like, those have been comments that have been directed towards me. And I've also seen like 3 or 4 comments come up where it was personal attacks made against other people in my community. And I don't know if the other people in my community noticed those comments that were directed towards them. I went and banned those people out of my community, because I have zero tolerance for that shit. No one needs to tolerate that kind of garbage. I know there's this theory out there that, oh, well, there needs to be all this stuff that's, you need to be able to listen to the other side. It's like, no, if they're just coming in acting like assholes trying to start shit, that's not acceptable. I have zero tolerance for that. What I would prefer to do is publicly roast those people on a video, but I'm pretty sure YouTube would frown upon that, which is why I won't do it. Otherwise, I would just call those people out for being assholes and let everyone see how toxic they are, but whatever. So differing opinions are fine. You shouldn't get worked up over that. If it's hate comments, you don't need to put up with that. And if someone's coming in and making personal attacks against you or another person, then you're completely fair game to just get rid of those people and get them the hell out. Because you also don't want to cultivate that kind of bullshit mentality in your community where it's fine for people to come in and act that way. Like I said, I have zero tolerance for it. Next thing, niche. This gets a lot of people hung up really bad on stuff. And there's a couple of different theories on this. There's some people that say, so Gary Vee, for example, Gary Vee has said on a lot of his videos that you are the niche. And I do think there is a lot of truth to that. That if you're, well, this depends on how you're making your videos, but you are the niche. So for example, one of the people I like watching is Asmongold. He's a streamer. I don't watch his streams. I only watch so he does his stream and then he clips up videos out of that, and then he posts those on YouTube for people to watch. That's how I consume his stuff. Asmongold is an example of someone who is the niche. He can talk about anything. he could sit on the toilet and take a dump, and he would have his usual 3 to 400,000 hardcore people that will watch whatever video it is that he puts out. Now, I've seen other people that will get a lot of views and then they try to pivot to something else and then they get like almost 0 views. And a lot of times it's because that person hasn't really cultivated themselves as the reason to watch. So Tim Kaine, for example, I'm going to use Tim Kaine as an example because I think he's a great example. This is an example of a guy that could put out a video talking about something completely different than game development. And I would almost be willing to bet that he would get at least 5,000 people. So he's been averaging, it looks like about 7,000 or so. He would probably get about those 7,000 people watching whatever other type of video it is that he would put out other than something related to game development. Because again, if you go look through the comment section, people watch Tim because of his personality. He became the niche. Now, there are some people who they have a niche, and so that's why sometimes I'll come across a channel that has like a couple 100,000 subscribers, and then I'll go look at their videos, and each, like, they will only get a couple hundred views on the video. That usually is indicative of other issues with the channel, because the other thing, and Devin Nash has talked about this, and Devin Nash knows what the hell he's talking about with this, and he gave an example a while back. If you go back on Devin's channel, he did a breakdown of this a while back. I don't know if I'll be able to find the video offhand. I should have had this ready to go. I don't know for sure which one of these it is. It might either be the best social media marketing strategy to dominate 2021 or why you're bad at marketing, probably. He gave an example, he pulled up multiple examples, but one of the examples that he gave, he pulled up a channel that was focused on gaming, but it was a specific game, and I don't remember what it was. And then the person made a video talking about an entirely different game than any of the other videos on the channel were related about, and the video performed way better than those other videos. And Devin, and I've seen other people talk about this as well, each video is now its own island. Rather than the channel being an island, the videos are an island, meaning that you could make a video about one topic, completely shift to another topic, and the potential is there, as long as people want to watch the video, the potential is there that both of those videos could do really well, even though they're about completely different things. Now, the thing with this is, if you really have a lot of interest in a niche, like, yeah, you're probably going to be able to come up with a lot of content. But the other thing is, and I don't know how much people really want to risk this, is if you get really stuck on one thing, that might be the only thing that people ever know you for. And then when you try to make videos talking about other stuff, that you're going to have a really hard time, and something I'm going to focus on in the future. I'm going to test it. I can't speak from this from experience. I'm going to test it over the next 6 months, and then I'll probably talk about it again at some point. Is like every third video or so, make something that's different. So talking about YouTube and all this stuff is different than a lot of the other videos that I make. And sometimes I'll make a video that's different than what the other videos that I have are. But I think that's a good idea, is to try new things. Unless you really, if you really want to be known for a specific type of video, that's completely fine. I would say don't overthink this, but for a lot of people, especially if you're just getting started, just try different things to see what it is that you really like to talk about. I would say, and I agree with Gary Vee on this, you should either talk about what you know or talk about what you have a lot of passion about. Opinions are fine, but for the most part, I think it's better to stay away from making a bunch of opinion content, because that can really lead you down a path that you might not want to go down. And I've came across other YouTubers that's been a problem for them. The next thing, sense of community. This has been something really important. And I remember watching some Gary Vee videos a while back where he was talking about focusing on a community is really important, and I would have liked to have pulled up the video to show an example, but Gary Vee posts a lot of videos. He did a video probably about a month back. He was at a seminar, and he was doing Q&A, and there was a guy that came up on stage who asked him, hey, can I do a live session with you for like a minute or so for my viewers? And Gary Vee was like, yeah, that's completely fine. Pull up the live stream, we'll do it. And then, so the guy pulls up the video, he goes up to Gary, and so they're talking, and this is in front of an entire audience of people. And Gary's like, okay, how many people do you have watching right now? And the guy said, oh, I've got 3 people watching. And the whole audience just erupted in laughter. And Gary corrected them, which I'm glad he did, and said, you know what, those 3 people are everything. Those 3 people you should be treating like they're the most important people on your channel. because those 3 people then turn into 30 people. Then those 30 people then turn into 300, who then turn into 3,000. And that's incredibly true. And this is something I see a lot of small YouTubers get wrong, is they don't build any sort of sense of community. And I think this is what really hurts a lot of people on the come up, and why a lot of people probably drop out, is they aren't treating. Here's, first of all, you need to treat people like they're people. One of the things that I see thrown around on some of these YouTube growth videos is I will hear people talk about audience, and I get what they're saying when they say that. But the thing is when you are new to this and you hear the word audience, it's sort of like this ephemeral thing, I think, for a lot of people, where they have this idea of, okay, well, it's not really tangible. Like, okay, people are watching, but you don't really think of them as people. They're people just like you. And so you have to think, like, don't go out and don't insult other people. Don't be one of these people that just, you're insulting your audience. I've seen some YouTubers do that, and it never turns out well. Yeah, I don't understand what it is with these people that insult the people that watch them, and then their community turns on them. But there's plenty of examples that you could go watch. So engagement is really important here. And like Gary said, those 3 people are your everything, who will at some point turn into 30, who then turn into 300. And you can go look at past examples on my videos here of someone, like if someone comes in and asks a question on one of my videos, and the question, for me to properly answer it, takes a 3 or 4 paragraph response. I have literally written out 4 paragraph long responses to people. Usually it's like 1 to 2 paragraphs, but sometimes it's a really long response, because that's what it takes to properly answer a question that someone leaves as a comment. That's really important. YouTube, the algorithm, the machine pays attention to that. That's really important, because here's the thing. So when I say treat people like people, I'll give you an example of something not to do. So one of the things that I've seen some YouTubers do, especially small ones, is people will come in and they'll leave comments on a video. So let's say a video gets like 2,000 or 3,000 views. People will come in and leave comments, they'll ask like questions or things like that. And I don't know if you've ever seen this as an example, like when you go to the comment section, of where people will come and ask questions or make comments. And then the person that owns the channel will just go and leave hearts on the comments. And sometimes that's fine. Like if it's just a really basic, oh, I like your videos, that's fine. You can just leave the little heart thing and give it an upvote. I mean, that's fine. But then I've seen like where people will ask questions, like they'll ask a question and the person will either just do the generic, so you can go in the YouTube studio and it will have pre-prepared responses. Like someone will ask a question, but then you can just click on a pre-made 3-word responses. Thanks for watching, for example. And so I've seen that where people will ask questions and then the person will just do the heart and then say, oh, thanks for watching, on like 2 or 3 dozen comments. That's insulting people, because they ask a question, and if you don't have time to answer it, that's fine. Then I guess don't answer. Like at some point you won't be able to have enough time to answer every single question people ask, but don't be rude to people. Like if you're just doing this generic stuff, people see right through it and they're like, oh, well, this person's I'm just another viewer to them. They don't actually care. And then they'll just move on to another channel. So you need to create like an actual sense of community. Anytime someone comes in and leaves a comment on my videos, anytime that it's someone that's left comments in the past, I recognize their name right away. I can, like, there's multiple people that on most of my videos that they will come in and leave comments on my videos. And then, for example, there was one of the people that was commenting on some of the earlier videos, like that I made like a month or 2 into this. And then made something just recently, and they commented that they were gone for a while. I guess maybe they've probably been watching, but they haven't been engaged like with comments or anything. And then he just left a comment like a month ago on something, and I recognized the name right away. Now, when I say sense of community, that's the kind of things that I'm talking about. And the other thing is you should be creating depth with your audience, not making just superficial content. And by the way, 5-10 minute videos are fine, but I really think that there's going to be a strong trend towards making long form video and actually creating a real community of people that want to watch stuff. Like, to give you an example, like Asmongold, like I was talking about earlier, even though his videos are pretty basic for the most part, he still does like 30 or 40 minute videos. Like, all of his videos are very long form. And one of the things that I've done to create like depth of content, I've got this website here with cybersecurity and privacy info where so I was typing it out on Word documents and then pasting it onto the website. And right now I've got like 120 pages of content on that website. And then I'm working on, well, I'm not going to go into detail. I don't want to spoil it. I'm working on more content that's going to create a lot of depth. because when people come here, I want them to be able to engage with stuff, learn more about whatever it is that I'm talking about. Creating depth is a really important part of creating a sense of community. Next thing, just this is something that you should do. You don't need to have an idea of it right away. If you're like 5 videos in, don't focus on this whole bunch. You should have an idea of where you want to take the channel, plan things out. So for example, so I don't do drama or rage baiting. I don't do clout chasing. If you go look on my past YouTube videos, not once have I ever mentioned another YouTuber in like a bad light. That could grow my channel a lot. I could plan a bunch of rage baiting clickbait stuff and make hit pieces on other YouTubers to grow my stuff a lot faster. I'm not going to do that. I'm not so interested in trying to grow my channel that I'm going to talk shit on other people. And the other thing is I'm very deliberate with what it is that I'm doing. So I could go make something like a James Johnny style video. So he does a lot of video essay or documentary type videos. I'm not sure what you call it, probably like documentary type videos. I could make those videos if I wanted to. They take a lot more time and effort, and I could put one up like every now and then. But that would be so much different from the type of videos that I'm doing right now, where that would draw in a certain audience. They subscribe, and then they'd see the videos coming out later that are like this that I normally do. And then they'd be like, well, why are there two like way different types of content? Now, if I did a Corey Kenshin type, because at some point I'm going to be putting some gaming videos on my channel, if I did a Corey Kenshin style video on my channel, it would fit well because my videos are kind of in this style with my little webcam up here, and I don't do a ton of like meme editing. Like Corey has a lot of meme edits in his videos. I don't have those in mind. But if I made this style of video for my channel, it wouldn't be massively different from what I'm doing here. And so I'm planning out things in a certain way, and I'm being very deliberate about it. Like I'm not trying to grow my channel super fast. Like the way that I'm growing right now, picking up 5 to 10 subscribers a day on average is completely fine. That's all I'm interested in. Like that's plenty of growth. Like if you took that, extrapolated that out over the entire year, if I continue doing like I have been for the past few months, then by the end of this year, I'll be at, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers. And that's completely fine. I'm not worried about that stuff. But I would say plan on, this is something that's been important for me, is just give it some thought ahead of time as to how you want to plan things out. The next thing that I think is really important, I haven't got a lot of this yet. Like typically what people will do is for the most part, they'll say, oh, I really like the video and things like that, which is great. I haven't got a lot of feedback of people saying, oh, well, I would like to see more of this type of content. Every now and then I'll have someone come in and leave a comment. So one of the more recent videos that I did was about SIM swap attacks. Someone came in and asked a question. I wouldn't say that was feedback. That was someone asking a question. But if someone comes in and gives feedback and let's say you have 20, you're a small YouTuber and you see 20 of the same comments saying, hey, we think you should fix your audio, like your audio doesn't sound good. That's a case of where, okay, I should pay attention to what these people are saying. I need to fix this. I think taking feedback is really important. This doesn't apply to just YouTube, this applies to life in general. If people are giving you good feedback, like it's not troll feedback or some bullshit kind of thing, this is important. But like I said, I've tried to elicit this on multiple occasions, but I haven't got people to give me a lot of feedback yet. But when I have got it, I pay attention to it because I do think that's important. The next thing, this has been important for me. So in the past, the reason my intentions on the channel in the past were that I just wanted to learn how to make videos. And so I didn't focus on a niche. I didn't have like a really specific style of content that I was making. I just was making those 100 videos in 100 days because I needed to learn how to get better. My intentions with being on the platform coming back have shifted quite a bit, where now what I'm really focusing on is slow growth and focusing on like where I want to take the channel. But where I'm going with this is, number one is growth isn't everything. Like some people will come in and they'll burn really hot. Like I'm sure some people have seen, like, I can't remember what they call them, but there's like a certain type of candle or this thing that you can light it, but then it burns up really fast and then it's just gone. And it seems like there's some people that are like that. I've came across quite a few channels on YouTube, the smaller channels, like 5,000 subscribers, of people that came in and it seemed like they were doing really well. They posted a few dozen videos and they got a lot of subscribers for a few dozen videos. Like if you post 20 videos, 30 videos and you get 5,000 subscribers, that's not typical. Usually it takes quite a bit more time and effort to get that. But then they disappear. And it's like, I don't know that they had good intentions for being on the platform. And so chasing subs is an example. Like, I would have already dropped off a long time ago. I would have dropped off like 2 months into this if I were here to chase subs. And the other thing is, if I were the other thing, I see this in people in general. I'm not doing this because it's not my source of income. But one of the things that I will see is people with the intention of trying to get on YouTube because they want to make money off of it. And you can tell through their content. I watched a video. I've seen this on a lot of videos. Is someone who consumes quite a bit on this platform that I've learned is a lot of people don't like this, where they can tell when you are just trying to make money. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with making money. I have no issue with people who want to monetize. But I was looking for a piece of software to replace something that I'm using. And I came across this channel and I was like, okay, well, these videos seem pretty decent. I'll watch 2 or 3 in this. The last one that I had ever watched on the channel, I clicked down in the description to see what was down in the description. There were probably 15 or 20 affiliate links. And then this person was reviewing the software, but then they had affiliate links for that software. It's like, okay, well, how are you doing a review of this software, but yet you have an affiliate link to it? That tells me that you're biased and of course you're going to say good things about it. And people torched this person in the comments. Like, they said the same thing, like, why the hell are you recommending the software when you're also an affiliate? Like, this is not an unbiased review. You're not giving a proper look at this stuff. And so people can sniff out, and I can do the same thing, like, where if someone's got wrong intentions, like if you're just coming on here to try to monetize people, I think that's completely the wrong reason to be on the platform. If you happen to make money off of being on the platform, great. But if this is if making money or chasing after subscribers and these vanity metrics is the reason that you're on here, I think you're gonna have a hard time. Like I said, I would have dropped off a long time ago if that's the reason that I was on here. The next thing, this has been a big lesson. Well, I learned this a while ago. I have never thought that it was the responsibility of the viewer to come in and leave comments, leave feedback for me things for me to talk about. It's my obligation. So whether you are going the route of the educator or the entertainer or a mix of education and entertainment, it is not the audience's obligation to guide it along. It is your obligation. And something that I would say, so like if you're a subscriber watching my channel, it's not your obligation to leave comments or tell me that you want to see a specific type of video. If you do that, that's great. I have no issue with that. But it's not your obligation to carry the channel on your back. And I've seen some YouTubers do this, and it never turns out good. And again, I'm not going to call out examples because I'm not going to give attention to people that don't deserve it. But the other thing I'll mention, so streaming. So I'm getting into streaming here pretty soon. Now I already have the next month of streams planned out, but I'm planning out like 3-hour streams, and I have already planned out all the content because it is not my expectation that people should come in and start asking questions and leave comments. If I only end up getting 2 viewers, number one, that's on me. That's not on anyone else. That is completely my responsibility that I have such a problem with my content being boring or whatever the problem is, that no one wants to come watch me. That's an issue that, okay, only 2 people want to watch me when I'm live. I need to fix that. That's not on them. And one of the ways to do that, like in my case, is I'm focusing mostly on educational content. Well, okay, if no one wants to watch my streams, I need to do a better job of planning my streams out. And one of the things that I saw this came up yesterday on a video that I was watching. It came up in the comment section of someone saying that they didn't want to stream because they didn't want to stream to 0 viewers because it'd make them feel bad. And I think a lot of people share that sentiment. And it's like, okay, well, you have to start from square 0. Nobody starts with 100,000 subscribers. Everyone starts at 0, and you cannot get to 100 without starting at 0. But it's also not anyone's obligation to carry you on their backs to get to that point. You need to do the work. And I have never had this thing where I thought, okay, well, it's the obligation of the people that watch me. And when I get into streaming, I'm never going to assume that people should come in and engage with me. Like, I'm planning stuff out ahead of time. I'm planning out 3 hours of content for each of these streams, because, like I said, it's not the obligation of the viewer to do that. Now, the next thing, I think this goes hand in hand, so that's why I just included it in here. I've noticed this come up a lot. Again, as someone who's consumed the platform, I haven't done anything and I have no intention of making any content that would put me in a position where I could be banned on YouTube. Like the one thing that I do that YouTube doesn't like is I use profanity, but I don't make hate content. I'm not making like stuff talking about illegal subject or stuff that I guess could even border on that. But one of the things that I see is people will talk and they'll say things like, oh, well, I'm shadow banned. I see this a lot with political people. I don't watch political content. Like, I just think politics is ridiculous. But I've seen this come up where people will mention in comments on a video talking about how to grow your YouTube channel, and people will leave in the comments, oh, I got shadow banned. I'm getting like almost no views on my channel. And without fail, I will go look at that channel. They're making political content, so a lot of times it's hit pieces talking shit on other people, and a lot of people don't like that kind of stuff. And they'll go take a look at their videos, and like this one person that said, oh, well, I'm shadow banned, so I made a new channel, and so I clicked on it. I was like, okay, well, let's see what's going on here. I looked at it. The person was uploading in shitty camera. They couldn't even upload in 1080 footage, which just about every camera these days is capable of doing 1080. So they couldn't do 1080. I looked at the background was pretty crap. Like, you don't need something fancy. Like, I just have a plain white background with a painting here, but have like something in the background, I guess. Their audio was complete garbage and their content was horrible. Like, they had these periods where they would pause for a while and then they would continue speaking. It's like, okay, well, you need to learn how to edit. It's no one's obligation to sit through a boring ass video. If you can't even make basic edits to cut out the dead air, no one wants to sit through 10 seconds of dead air while you try to catch your train of thoughts and then continue talking about a topic. And the thumbnail, like the thumbnails were non-existent. Like, there's no work going into the thumbnails. It's just like generic thumbnails, which for some people it works. I gave an example of the real estate agent, or Jerry Plinkus. If you want to look up this example, it's I think it's Jerry Plinkus. He's a real estate agent in Florida who gets hundreds of thousands of views, and he does the most basic iPhone videos with basic thumbnails. But the content itself, the video itself, is done well. But so I looked at this and I was like, this person's not shadow banned. Their content is just garbage and they're not doing anything to improve it. And the thing is, and I could be in the same position where I would have not grown my channel at all over the last 6 months if I were not taking steps to actively improve it. So like when I go to edit my videos, I watch every single second of a video before I put it out. It doesn't matter. This video is an hour plus at this point, and I'm going to watch every second of it to look and see, okay, well, can I cut some of the stuff that I talked about out, shorten it down, but still have brevity there, and then cut out all the dead air and things like that. But then it also goes into things like, am I using, like, do I have long pauses? Do I need to work on my speech? I'll cover that here pretty soon. But the people that say shadow, and I agree with Gary Vee on this, that when people say, oh, I'm shadow banned, Gary Vee says, no, you just suck. That's really what it comes down to, is these people don't want to take a hard look at themselves. I'm not trying to be mean. If you're watching this and you're not getting any views and you've done like 100 videos, that's a sign that you need to look at what you're doing and change something. Maybe your titles are bad. Maybe your thumbnails are bad. Maybe you have a hard time speaking on video and you just need to practice more being able to speak on video. Like, I'm an hour, so unedited, I'm an hour and 15 minutes into this. I've been talking nonstop. My voice is about to go out because I've just been talking nonstop because I know my subject material. I can talk about this stuff at great length. I've done a lot of practice on this. I think this is complete garbage most of the time. Am I saying that am I saying that this never happens? Maybe there's cases where it could happen, and I think there were some news articles that came out. I'm not a politics person. When I see this word get thrown out, it's in the context of politics, because the people that are out trying to make good content, like educational content or something that's entertaining, if you're making hit pieces or you're making political content, it's where I've seen this come up. And those are the type of people that, to be honest, if they did get shadow banned, I wouldn't give a shit, because there's too much toxic garbage in the world as it is. Instead of people trying to help move the collective, the greater good forward, some people just like to try to tear everything down. And a lot of people, and I'm one of them, can't stand that shit. The other thing is, going along, keeping this would be more like a subtopic of this. It's the obligation of me as the creator of this content, making yourself real instead of something manufactured. I came across a channel. I wish I would have saved it because I saw it. I was like, this channel is garbage, and I clicked off, and I couldn't remember the name of it. They had like 220 or 230,000 subscribers, and their long form video. They were mostly long form videos. There might have been a few shorts, but it was almost all long form videos where they were all these videos were talking about the same damn thing. Like it was the same topic, they just change it slightly. And all the videos were trying to sell something to the audience. And the guy was super fake. And also his viewers he bought viewers, which you should never do that. If YouTube doesn't ban you, which there's a very big chance that they will, it looks really bad for you as the person that has the channel to have. So like this guy had these 220,000 subscribers. His views were averaging like 500 to 800 views. That does not look good. And that is a sign that there's something wrong with the channel when there's that much of a disparity. And when I watched the videos, I was like, this guy comes across as super fake. Every single one of his videos, he's talking about selling something to his audience instead of just trying to do something to help people out. He just wants to make a quick buck. People can sniff this stuff out. And so, and this is going to be a big thing, is be someone that's real. And again, so Timothy Kane, Chris Titus Tech, Devin Nash, Corey Kenshin. Ali Abdal is an example of someone who sells quite a bit to his audience, but he comes across as being pretty real. Asmongold is an example of, if you want a streamer, of someone who comes across as someone that's actually real. Yeah, people might not agree with everything that he says. This is what people want to watch. It's called social media. It's not called marketing media. It's not called sales media. This manufactured stuff is just garbage. And I think it's also why a lot of these talking head videos are also doing so well, is because people want to see something that's actually authentic, not this super produced Hollywood style production kind of thing. Like, yeah, that content can do well, but for the most part, a lot of people just cannot make it work well. And I don't watch it. Like, there are some big tech channels that have gone towards the super manufacturers. I don't watch their stuff. I don't give a shit because it doesn't feel legit to me. I just don't like it. The next thing, this is one of the most important things that you can take away. So this was something that I learned during the 100 videos in 100 days, where I ended up making 130 videos at the end, was learning to talk to a camera is incredibly important. And this takes a lot of practice. Like I said, for me, so all those videos that I would scrap during that first month and then go and refilm them. So like I said, there were videos where I would film the video, scrap it, do that a dozen times, and then finally I would have something that was good. The reason that I did that is because I didn't want to use editing as a crutch, because editing cannot fix everything. Now, you can do a lot with video editing. I'm gonna say, if you have bad audio, you cannot fix bad audio. If you have a bad microphone or something goes wrong with your audio, you have to start over. You cannot fix bad audio. I've tried it. I've had videos in the past that the audio got screwed up. If it's something minor, you might just be able to work around it. But if the audio goes bad, there's nothing you can do to fix it. Video, you can use video editing as a little bit of a crutch. But I wanted to get to the point where I could just talk on the camera for long periods of time, because there's YouTubers out there and they've shown behind the scenes, and some YouTubers they'll say like one or two sentences, then they have to look at their bullet points, like they'll have a script or bullet points. They have to look at it. They'll take like 5 or 10 seconds. When I watch these behind the scenes videos, I'm like, it would make so much more sense to just become much better at speaking, like where you can look at bullet points like I'm doing here, and then talk on that bullet point for a long period of time. And it also will save it will save a disgustingly massive amount of time in editing. If you can get to where you can talk for a long period of time, you're not screwing up sentences constantly. Like every now and then, I'll still make a mistake on something that I'm saying, but it's like, that's easy to fix a few things in editing. But if you're filming a 30-minute video and you have like 20 or 30 different things, even just like, let's say 30 different sections that you screw up on and you have to fix, that will cost you a ridiculous amount of time, when that time would be much better spent just, okay, the video turned out like crap, I'm going to scrap it and just completely redo it. And just keep doing that time and time again until you get to the point where you can do it. And I can't remember some specific examples, but there's specific examples of like sports, of like athletes that will do this, for example, where if they screw something up, they're performing a certain movement, they screw it up, they just start over and then they keep going until they get it done right. And that's what I did during that 100 videos. Now, it is a skill. Like I said, talking on video is a skill. And when I came back to YouTube, because I was gone for about 18 months, and then I came back and I started making videos again. And for the first few videos, if you go back to the first videos that I was posting, they were pretty rough around the edges. Like, I had to get back in the practice of doing it. But once you get used to doing it, this will improve massively. You have to just get used to looking at a camera and talking to the camera in order to get better at it. You won't. You can watch all the YouTube videos in the world. You could go watch Think Media or Ali Abdal or one of those channels talking about how to make a YouTube video. But until you actually do it, you can spend 20 hours watching videos, but then when it comes time to do it, you'll be like, you're gonna sit there, you're gonna look at the camera, your mind's gonna freeze up because you're like, oh, this is really weird talking to a camera, I don't know what to say. Until you start putting in the reps, you're not going to be able to actually improve. You have to put in the reps. And I just had to do it. That was something that I couldn't improve. The next thing, so that was one of the big things I did to improve, was just if I screwed it up, scrap it and start over. Now, the other thing to go along with this is the speech skills will improve massively. So when I first started on YouTube, I actually had came off of speaking to groups, public groups. So I had a little bit of that practice where I hadn't been away for a long time. So I was kind of used to speaking in a sense where, okay, I'm going to talk on this subject, but then people are going to ask questions. So, I mean, it still felt really weird talking to a camera, but over those 130 videos that I made, my speech skills, because I went back at like month 3, went back and watched a few of my early videos, my ability to speak had improved massively, and that carried over into real life as well. And having speech skills is a lot more important than people give it credit for. I made a few videos talking on this in the past. There's other books out there. Gary Vee's book 12 and a half is a really good read. Also, The Like Switch. I can't remember. I think Jack Schaefer is the guy's name, is a retired FBI agent. He did counterintelligence for the FBI. Learning how to speak is an unbelievably valuable skill that you can have. And since I have been back on YouTube, because I go back and watch every single second of my videos, that has allowed me to improve. So I'll go watch and I'll say, oh, okay, I'll look at it, I'll watch the video and I'm like, okay, well, I'm using too much of, this is a filler word, I'm using too much of it, I need to get rid of it. Or this is a word where it's just completely pointless, it's a filler word, I need to completely remove it. So then as I'm filming these videos, the subsequent videos, in the back of my mind, I have it there where the entire time I'm thinking, okay, I need to not say this word because it's a filler word, and it doesn't do anything to improve the quality of the video. Going through that little bit of work, that mental workout, I guess you could call it, has translated over into my everyday speech skills, like when I'm talking to other people. And my speech, even just in the last 6 months, has improved tremendously because I have worked really hard on getting rid of filler words, and also working on formulating what it is that I want to say and how I want to say it, and being able to get it out in a more clear and concise manner. Because when I was making videos, if you go back and watch some of my early videos from like 5-6 months ago, and you go watch one of my more recent videos, or you've watched this one, so just like if you were to go back and watch a few of these older ones, you'll notice like my ability to talk has improved just massively in the last 6 months. And then last thing I'll cover, because holy shit, this is an incredibly long video. Comparison. So there's a lot of truth to this, that comparison is the thief of joy. You should not compare yourself to other YouTubers. I know it's really hard to not do. I've seen this come up on, I've seen it come up on the NewTubers Reddit quite a bit, but I don't go on that Reddit anymore because I think that it's a bad place to be. Because if people go on there, they're going to focus on the wrong things. That's not going to move them forward. But comparing yourself to other people is not good. So like if you look at how someone else, so if you're to compare yourself to James Johnny, he makes like documentary videos on YouTube. I think he's probably got 20 or 30 videos now, and he's got 3 or 4 million subscribers the last time I looked. If you compared yourself to that person, you've got 3 videos in, you're going to destroy your willpower to be able to continue to make videos. You need to realize that no 2 channels ever have the same path. Some channels do incredibly well and some don't. Some channels grow really well, some don't. I came across a channel yesterday. I've heard about them for a while and I was looking at their channel more yesterday. They have 4 or 5,000 videos and they have, it was about 20,000 subscribers and they're getting only a couple hundred views on each of their videos. And that's a lot of videos. To have that many videos and to only get a few hundred views on your videos and be doing it for that long, that would suck. For a lot, like for me, that would suck ass if I was in that case. But like I said, that's number one, that's a sign where people, like I said, they need to do some self-reflection, be like, okay, well, there's something going on here. But also, so I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. So I was watching an interview with Ali Abdaal. Now, Ali has 5.08 million subscribers, and he's got multiple channels at this point. He's got a podcast channel. I think he might have 1 or 2 other channels. He's got 795 videos. Now, I heard Ollie bring this up in one of his videos. He was talking, he was being interviewed by somebody, and he said that, so he was talking about other people that were coming to him saying, oh, well, how do I grow my channel? You know, I've got this many views, I've got like 50 videos, and I've only have this many amount of like 200 or 300 subs. And he's like, well, when I was making videos, I think he said he had like 50 videos and he only had 800 subscribers by the time he made 50 videos. But then you see he's got 795 videos, but now he's got 5.08 million subscribers. And it's that hockey stick curve where not everyone gets to experience this. Some people never get something just never clicks and they never experience this. But Ali Abdaal was a case of this where it was that hockey stick curve where it was really slow, just kept going like this. And then all of a sudden, just in the last couple of years, it was like this, and then just all of a sudden it grew. And for a lot of people, that's what happens. And the same thing, so I was watching an interview of Patrick Bet David. Now, I don't watch Pat's videos anymore because he's gone so far political, and I cannot stand political content. I don't watch politics stuff. And I wish he would have stuck to making like business or educational videos, and now his stuff has turned into a lot of, I think, just I don't like the content that he makes now. But it's neither here nor there, because a lot of people do, I guess, like the videos because he gets a lot of views on this stuff. But he was saying that his first 2 years on YouTube, he was posting consistently. I don't know how many videos he had been posting, but I'm guessing he had a decent amount. It looks like, yeah, he had quite a few videos his first 2 years. He had to have had a good at least 50 videos by that point. He said his first 2 years on YouTube, at the end of those 2 years, he had only 1,000 subscribers. And then all of a sudden he started to grow. And I started following Pat's channel, I think it was in 2016 or 2017. When I started following his channel, he had about 150,000 subscribers. And just in the last few years, he's an example of another channel that all of a sudden just it grew massively. But the thing is that if Ali Abdaal or Patrick Bet David or any of those people would have done that comparison where, oh, well, these other people have grown really fast and they've only got a couple dozen videos, I've done hundreds of videos, but I haven't grown at all. Yeah, again, it's the same thing. Like, you can't compare yourself to other people. You just have to keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, that's where I don't focus on analytics. I'm going to go back to analytics real quick. I make a video, I post it, I'm moving on to the next thing. I don't give a damn what the analytics are like. So every now and then I might go back and take a look at watch time. Like, oh, okay, well, this video's got more watch time than usual. But I don't go into you can go into YouTube Studio and do like a breakdown of like, okay, what sections are people dropping off? I don't look at that shit. I don't care. My focus is on making better content. And what I realized right now, maybe this will change in the future when I get another 50 or 100 videos on this channel. But for me, what's really important right now is I know that I can continue to improve my content in the form of like how I'm speaking, how I'm recording, things of that nature. So looking at analytics is not going to fix that. What I need to do is actually work on the content itself, work on the subject material. You can't improve your subject material all that much when you're so focused on, oh, they dropped off at this part here and this part here. And oh, I don't know that this thumbnail's converting all that well. I need to change the thumbnail. Yeah, those things are important. But for me as a small YouTuber, I don't think that's important. And I did a little bit of experimenting with changing thumbnails and changing titles. It's not been something that's made a difference for me, so I'm not focused on it. I don't care. But anyways, I need to cut the video off. I could continue going on, but this is pre-editing. I'm already at an hour and a half in, so that's absolutely ridiculous. But I hope you got at least a couple of things to take away from this. I have come across so many channels that they post like 20 or 30 videos, and I do think the content is good, But then I will look at their last post video and it's like 6 months ago, and it's like you were on to something. You had something that was going somewhere, but for some reason they give up. And I think a lot of it is they just maybe they go in with the wrong intent. There could be a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people come into this because they see these videos of, oh, YouTube is a financial source. Like, okay, well, yeah, if you put in the work, you stay engaged with it, but you have to do it the right way. Like I said, one of the most important things that at least that have learned and that I am applying is that for me, I'm not trying to grow the channel as fast as I possibly can. I am planning on slow growth, managed, and going in a direction that I want it to go. I'm not making things that are going to go against what I'm trying to do with the channel. Anyway, with all that being said, I'm gonna end the video here because my voice is going out. I hope you got something good from the video. Hope you enjoyed it. With all that being said, I will see you on the next one.